Welcome to WORKSHEETS Data Studio. In today's video, I am going to show you how you can open and analyze large JSON files. Let's open WORKSHEETS Data Studio JSON editor. Close panel. Now you can open file entirely. So let's say we have a small file with 1000 rows. You can see it in two panels. In one panel, it is text, the normal JSON text, where you can minimize it to one row or have it normally, or you can see them in Excel like data grid, where you can do some exploratory data analysis. For instance, you can see how many out of those 1000 new, cancelled, or correct, what kind of product ID you have, what kinds would split, and you can filter them. Also, you can export it into a different format, including Excel, CSV, or whatever, JSON or GSV. Same, if you have a database connected, you can save it straight to SQL database. In this example, we loaded the entire file into the memory and we can nicely analyze and process it. But sometimes files are too big to load into the memory and you would want to open file partially and load only, let's say, first 100 rows, or skip 100 rows and load another 100 rows. Now you can choose any file size. You see those one is almost half gig and is quite quickly, easily to open, only 100 rows. And this will allow us to see structure of this big file and take some further actions. What should you be doing about it? Next step of my analysis will be to take unique values for one of the fields, for instance, for product ID. And doing the same exercise again, removing, so let's say, distinct product ID, and selecting, let's say, same file which has 150 rows, analyzing it. It is opening, processing, should be no problems. And it shows me a breakdown for product ID and a kind of count. All of those files are 150 rows. We quickly analyzed. And for instance, we can see that interest rate cap flow, well, product ID interest rate cap flow is 1521 rows. So another step of analysis will be to filter. So take this out and only show rows where interest rate cap flow. So now out of 1500s, we should have 1521 rows. And you can quickly analyze. Same way you can export. You can quickly export, save to database, or whatever you want to do, however you want to analyze. Same analysis, in even more data processing, you can do with JS Python. And you can open JS Python tab. And there is a function called open file as array over here, which eventually opens up, same, if you run it now, open same window, and you have to select file, let's say same file, and you can have 1,000 rows, and you can see result same here with same JSON editor. You can obviously toggle and you can make it nicer. Well, this is pretty much same things as you can do over there, but here you can do a little bit more. You can programmatically apply filter. You can do same operations programmatically. So let's say you can same as over there do this in EAD, run, select same file, and you can see same result over here. So let's say you're interested in the same cup flow, and you can do filter use ID equal cup flow, and run now you should have 1521 rows returned. If you choose same file, you can see this number of rows. You can analyze them, and for instance you are interested to see only where action is cancelled. You can say and or action equal cancel. So now if you run this, you should have cancel only 337 rows. And if you choose same, and you have 337 rows, nicely formatted and whatever. You can write here pretty much any data processing logic, whatever you can, and then just choose file and save it down. Another example will be to transform. So you see, to transform each element of your array into something smaller, including filters. So for instance, the same, say over here, so we have a filter and we're using function map, where we won't have that big JSON file, that wide JSON file, but we will have only a few fields, and those few fields would actually be a little bit smaller. So if we run this bit of code, you can see we don't have this big file, but we have a much smaller kind of transformed, which has only ID, effective date, notional, and currency, which again we can easily export, save to database, or do whatever you like to do. This is pretty much it. I showed you how you can analyze and process large JSON files with no memory issues, with no hangouts, with reasonable performance on the load time. But so we never did anything. We never saved data, or we just analyzed files. Those files never came to any server, just in your browser. And so a correct way of analyzing large data files will be to save them to database. Let's say save them to SQL Server database, and then we can use whatever SQL Server allows you to do. And you can easily query, you can easily analyze, you can do whatever you like to do. So in the next video, I am going to show you how you can save large JSON files into the database. Thank you. Bye.